Rancho Bernardo High School senior Gabriela Sanchez-Moore says when she heard students from a nearby campus had organized BLM rallies in Poway in November, she wanted in.
It's just important to me that these students know that they're being heard and they're being listened to, and we're going to fight for them.
But Sanchez-Moore didn't expect to experience this. A counter-protester shouting "White Power." The 17-year-old says some of the MAGA counter-protesters also pushed a teen BLM supporter to the street, but she says San Diego County Sheriff's deputies on the scene did not act.
She was crying and she was trying to talk to the police and ask for help and trying to explain to the police what happened, but the police ended up telling her that because she was a minor and she didn't have a parent there, they weren't going to do anything.
Sheriff Bill Gore says he is unfamiliar with that incident. So far, he says deputies have filed 11 reports stemming from BLM protests in Poway since May. He could not provide a breakdown of how many were on behalf of BLM protesters or MAGA counter-protesters. Gore says the department screens all deputy applicants for ties to white supremacist or far-right groups. And he says the vetting continues once they're on the force, and as of yet, he has found no deputies involved with extremists.
We work on it constantly in our training. We talk about equitable, fair, and unbiased policing.
Jennifer, who only wanted her first name used because she fears retribution, wonders if some deputies have actually absorbed that training. She says one day in November, she saw racist members of the group Defend East County, or DEC, some wearing knives around their waists and carrying a noise machine, encircle the teen BLM protesters. Jennifer says deputies close by appeared unmoved.
The attitude was, if you come out here to protest, this is what you get.
Later that day, Jennifer says a deputy refused to file a report after counter-protesters shoved a 20-something BLM protester onto the street.
His position was, until all of you leave and this girl is the only person left, I'm not doing anything. I refuse to call another officer.
Gore says the deputy didn't file the report because he lacked sufficient backup.
And to the limited manpower we had to go in and try to take a police report would have further inflamed the situation.
But Jennifer says a video of that same deputy talking to MAGA DEC people just moments later shows he's biased toward one side.
Don't worry about it. I'm just, okay. Yeah, I got you.
Gore says the video must be viewed in context. The sheriff says the deputy was trying to keep both sides apart while listening to a complaint from a DEC counter-protester.
And the deputy, as best I could tell, saying, I've got this. I've got it. In other words, we're going to separate them and you don't have to do it. That's how I interpret it. Now, that's what the deputy says his intentions were.
Still, Sanchez-Moore says she can't shake her belief that sheriff's deputies favor the far right.
We saw a group of the MAGA supporters talking to the cops, and they were fist bumping and shaking hands and laughing.
Gore says the glad-handing was really intel gathering.
If somebody comes up and they want to fist bump you, it's hard to put yourself in a deputy's position when you're trying to develop a rapport with these individual groups to say, get away from me, I can't talk to you. So I can see how it could be interpreted that, oh, they're friendly with one side.
But University of Illinois at Chicago Law School professor Samuel Jones, who specializes in police accountability, says that kind of public display discredits the sheriff's department.
By appearing to be biased, by appearing to ignore the rights of any American in favor of another American, they are essentially engaging in conduct unbecoming of a police officer.
Jones says the department's handling of the protests and counter-protests could dissuade BLM supporters from attending rallies, as was the case with Gabriela Sanchez-Moore.
It's really difficult because I don't know that if something were to happen to me, I don't know what help I would receive.
Gore says he's disheartened by that sentiment.
My commitment is to try to have those resources there so that doesn't happen, so they do feel safe. I can't make them safe from hateful things or hurtful things that are said, but I can protect them from physical danger. And if we were unable to do that in a particular situation, I'll take responsibility for that.
Amita, Sharma, KPBS News.